The 90th chapter of the Mandean book of John the Baptist. Prediction of the birth of the Prophet John the Baptist. In the name of the great living God, praise be to his great and sublime light. A chosen newborn from heaven, a secret revealed in Jerusalem. A dream was seen by a priest. Evil confusion has occurred. A disturbance occurred in Jerusalem. One day at dawn, a priest went early to the sanctuary of the Lord. His deceitful lips spoke evil, as he said to the priests, "When I lay down at night, I saw a vision. I was neither drowsy nor asleep, and I did not fall asleep that night. I saw a star descending on Enishbi, then a blazing fire rose at the door of Zachariah's house. I saw 3 lamps. The sun has set, and the lamps are lit. The lamps lit up the house of meetings, and their smoke headed toward the temple. A disturbance occurred in the heavenly bodies, and the earth quaked. A meteor descended on the Jews, and another meteor descended and fell in Jerusalem. I saw the sun at night, and the moon shining during the day. When the priests heard that vision, their faces turned pale, and they cast dust on their heads. And Eleazar spoke and said to the priests, "Who among you can interpret dreams to explain to us this dream that we have seen?" He also said, "The priest Yaakov, the interpreter of dreams, did not express his opinion to us. The priest Benjamin is also an interpreter of dreams, but it is not his habit to keep your secrets hidden." As for the priest Sabian, he did not mention anything about the content of the dream. A sudden voice came from the earth by order of heaven, directed at Uzair, saying, "Go to the priest Leolik, for he is the one who will explain to you the dream that you have seen." Uzair spoke to the priests, "Who will go to Leolik to interpret the dream for you?" Then they wrote a letter and handed it to the priest Sabian. He took the letter and went to Leolik, and he found him asleep in his bed, having not yet awakened. A palpitation occurred in the heart of Leolik that frightened him. Sabian approached Leolik and began to shake him to wake him from his sleep. He handed him the letter and explained to him the full details of the dream as was mentioned. Leolik got up from his bed naked, cast dust on his head, and fetched the dream book. He opened it and read it silently, and he wrote to the priests a letter explaining what he had read and reminding them that Enishbi would give birth to a son in Jerusalem. "Woe to you, old and young! Woe to you, Torah teachers! John will be born in Jerusalem and will abide by baptism. He will be called a prophet in Jerusalem." He also wrote to them in his letter that the planet that landed on Elizabeth was a child appointed from the high heavens and given to Elizabeth. As for the fire that was kindled in the door of the house of Zachariah, it was that John would be born in Jerusalem. Sabian took the message and headed towards the temple, where he found the priests all waiting for him. The letter was handed over to Eleazar. Eleazar opened the letter, read it silently, and knew what important words it contained. Then he handed it to Zachariah without reading its contents to the priests. Zachariah silently read it too and brought it back to Eleazar's hand. Eliezer spoke and said to elder father Zachariah, Elder father, leave the town of Judea, lest a conflict arise in Jerusalem. Zachariah raised his right hand and hit Eliezer on the head and said to him, O Azar, you great scholar, high priest of all, if you knew yourself, you would not attempt to enter our church, and if you knew yourself, you would not attempt to read the Torah. Your mother was a reckless woman who did not reform herself and did not enter the house of her father-in-law as a virgin. And your father did not have enough money to write a divorce document for her to rid himself of her. Is there ever a day when we come to you without mentioning Musa, son of Imran? Is there ever a day when we come and do not arrive at your church? How do you mention something about me that you did not hear and did not make sure of? Have you ever seen a deceased person who died and came back to life, that Enishbi should give birth to a son? Have you ever seen a blind person who opened his eyes? Have you ever seen a person whose leg was cut off and then put back on his body? Have you ever seen a dumb person who came back to talk and explain that you told me your wife would give birth to a son? Now 22 years have passed and I have not had intercourse with my wife. If this happens, then it is not because of me, and it is not because of you. And glory be to the one who has blessed me and blessed you. All the priests got up and started talking to elder father Zachariah, saying to him, Sit down and calm down, elder father Zachariah. May the calm of the good people possess you. If there were no dreams among the Jews, and if there were no visions in Jerusalem, then what Moses mentioned becomes a lie. The dream that we have seen will come true, and John will appear, abide by baptism, and be called a prophet in Jerusalem. The elder father came out from behind them, and Eleazar followed him. Then he saw 3 lamps walking behind Zechariah. So he grabbed Zechariah by the hem of his robe and said to him, O elder father, what is going before you, and what is following you? The elder father said, O Azar, great scholar, chief of all priests, the light that goes before me, I do not know for whom it guards, and the fire that follows me, I do not know for whom it is. It is not my job, and it is not your job, that Enishbi will give birth to my son. All the priests got up and started talking to elder father Zachariah, saying to him, Elder father, rest yourself and have a family, for a son from the highest heaven has been created and granted to you in your old age. He will be born and abide by baptism. He will be known as a prophet in Jerusalem. We will be baptized in his name and signed with his pure sign. We will take from him the holy bread and the potion of blessed water, and we will ascend through him to the realm of light. All the priests got up and started talking to elder father Zachariah, saying to him, We will tell you about your origin and your fathers, from whom you were born. You are from the offspring of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Musa son of Imran, and from the family tree of these, Beni Amin, Rishi, Baziri, Zaki, Zakoni, Ramish, Mahirman, Rabin, Judah, Zirab, Razi. Those who built the priest's hall, Hani and Hanani, as well as the one who wrote the Torah, who is called Tus the Great. Likewise, Ram and Ishmael and Sabiumin, as well as Berechiah of your forefathers. And you, O elder father, each of them had a son in their old age who became a prophet in Jerusalem. If a prophet comes from you, you will be attributed to the lineage of prophets, and John will receive revelation and be called a prophet in Jerusalem. Eleazar spoke and said to elder father Zachariah, if John abides by baptism, then I will be his servant. I will be baptized in his name. I will be signed with his pure sign. I will take from him the holy bread Batha, and drink from him a portion of the water Mambuha, and through him I will ascend to the realm of light. The elder father spoke, saying to all the priests, if a son is born from the highest heaven, what would you do in Jerusalem? Indeed, they brought the fetus from the waters of paradise and implanted it within the womb of Elizabeth. May the living God purify you, and may every being that comes to this place be purified.